When Mitch Garver leaves the game 4 pitches into the game, how did it sort of change the whole plan?
Yeah, Marnie, it was obviously it was kind of a game that had kind of an odd feel to it from the beginning. The way things played out with Mitch, Mike starred a little bit too. It felt like there was very little flow to anything that was going on. It was hard to get anything going, build any kind of momentum on either side of the ball. But I mean, obviously the toughest break right there is obviously 4 pitches in, losing Mitch Garver. That's always going to be challenging. Obviously, we have the depth here with Ben and with Astudillo to be able to actually catch the innings, but to lose him in that fashion is it's very tough.
And would Ben Rourke, or the backup catcher in general, typically sit in with the starting catcher as they go through the pitcher meetings, just as a general rule, because things like this can happen? Yeah,
so our catchers as a whole do kind of lock in, maybe not to the extent of the starting catchers, but they certainly spend a sufficient amount of time preparing for lineups and being familiar with who we're facing. So certainly that's not a lost type of situation. There's some interaction there and preparation as well. So I'm not as concerned about that. I think we certainly have a good game plan that we can still bring out there, even if our starting catcher does go down in a situation like that.
And how is he now, Rocco? Is he going to be available on this trip?
So Mitch did have to go to the hospital. He is being evaluated there. We'll have a full update on Mitch tomorrow. I will say, going out there and seeing him on the field, seeing him in the clubhouse afterwards, he was in rough shape. He was in a lot of pain and unable to really move. I mean, he had a tough time even catching his breath for a while on the field. All that, I mean, even with all that, you could see his mind kind of cranking while he's out there. He was not going to be able to do anything, catch, let alone, really walk. But he was, it took him a little while to actually get to that point and actually say that he knew that he could not go. And we also knew he could not go.
What did you see with Mike tonight? And is he health-wise okay?
Yeah, so Mike, I think Mike left some pitches, obviously, in the middle of the zone. I don't think he was very sharp or felt very good from the very beginning of the start tonight. When Mike came out, when Mike did not go back out there for the next inning, he had some very mild, I'd call it lateral forearm, I'd say tightness, very, very mild. He actually said, I can go out there and pitch. I don't feel great today. I can go out there and pitch if you need me to go out there and pitch. I thought we need to get him out. We need to get him out of the game. It's not there's not a lot of physical injury related concern, I think, going forward. It almost reminded me of the very minor tightness that he felt when he got hit with the comebacker. Similar spot on the top of the arm over here. So we'll evaluate him. I think he's going to be perfectly fine, but just with the way he was throwing the ball and him just even mentioning that, on the side, we wanted to get him out and we went to the bullpen at that point.
Hey, Rocco, I know there wasn't a ton of action, especially in center field, but how did you think Williams and Kyle, handled being put into relatively unfamiliar positions?
Yeah, I thought Kyle's kind of been preparing for this. We talked to him about this, him being an option in center field for us, a realistic option. He could find himself out there in some game action. And you never know if it's going to play out, but he's been preparing as if it would play out. And he went out there and did a good job. I think in center field, a lot of things really come down to being aggressive, really wanting the ball, and going after every ball like it's yours. And I think he went after the ball aggressively. I think he did a good job. I think he's comfortable enough out there that we can call his name and send him out there and let him play. So I was really happy with that. Williams has played some outfield in his day, and over here and in winter ball, he's pretty familiar with the outfield. So I was not overly concerned. It's also not a huge right field. Obviously, the first ball of the game, this gets hit into the gap in right field. Of course, that does happen, with some guys that haven't played a ton out there. But all that being said, I thought they handled it well.